Ho 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 everyone! Welcome to this year's Christmas special. It's finally Christmas. I'm feeling especially warm and fuzzy this time of year, and there's no time like now. And what's this? 250,000 subscribers? Is that my Christmas gift from you? Why, how sweet. Seriously though, thank each and every one of you for making me reach this milestone. The fact that so many of you have watched my videos and decided that I was worth a subscription, it means everything to me, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. With that said, welcome back to the Creepypasta Vault. I shall be your guide for this snowy evening. Let's enter and see what we may find. Why, we've found 10 presents for us! 10 awful Christmas-themed creepypastas that I shall read for you tonight. I don't know whether to be happy or sad. Anyways, there's not much else to be said. We've got 10 stories ahead of us, so we might as well begin. It's hard to tell if some of these were even written to be taken seriously, but, well, I'm gonna assume that most of them were because of the categories they have found themselves in on the wikis where I found them. Merry Christmas to you all, and have a wonderful evening. Let's begin with 10 awful Christmas creepypastas. Number 10. Christmas. What a fitting title. Most people can say that they have a few abnormal or weird people in their family, like a weird uncle or cousin. Yup, you could say that again. If any of my relatives are watching this, I'm not talking about you, alright? Well, that's nothing compared to my family. Ooh, lay it on me, buddy. When I was a kid, a lot of my family members would come over for Christmas. They all seemed a bit odd to me, and I know they must have been to my father too, because he clearly didn't like them. He would get angry with them when they came over, sometimes getting in big arguments, almost resulting in violence. I mean, come on, isn't that every Christmas celebration though? After a while, our Christmas parties at my house became less and less crowded. I was told my family members died from car accidents, heart attacks, etc.
You told me my parents died in a car crash.
A car crash?
But now I know that they were all lies. I noticed something else over the years. Our Christmas dinners were also getting stranger. Something tells me we didn't always eat turkey. So this one was actually not the worst thing ever. It definitely had an interesting idea going on, but it goes by far too quickly for any of the potential the story may have had at one point has any time to root itself down into the mind of the reader. Wasted potential is the greatest sin of this particular story. With a bit more polish and detail, I think the story would have been much better. Maybe dive into the family tree a little more. Explain their reasoning for going off the rails and resorting to implied cannibalism. Some more detail would have only helped this one. Number 9. Santa Claus. Ooh, what a clever pun. Santa Claus, the plump bearded man who comes down the chimney at night. Everyone knows him. What about Santa Claus? I've had my encounter with him and I am going to tell you. Are you ready? Oh, I'm not, I'm scared. It all started on Christmas Eve at 5 o'clock. I was over at my aunt's house. Were you flying over it like a bird? I was eating some turkey and I saw a shadowy figure at the doorstep. I heard a scream and it sounded like someone was being murdered. I assumed it was all in my head, and I myself was a little tired. You sure you don't want to go check that out? That sounds pretty serious. I was only 11 at the moment and was really dumb. Isn't everybody? You got me there, author. You got me there.
I was on my way home and I was really tired. I put cookies and milk for Santa and carrots for the reindeer. My little sister Angelica was only 6 at the moment, wanted to stay up and wait for Santa to come. I obviously said no because I knew he would never come.
You're crushing her dreams this early?
She kept bugging me and eventually I gave up and said yes. I grabbed a blanket and my phone for entertainment. Angelica gave up at around 8. I just stayed up and I drifted off to sleep. Some sound came out from the kitchen after I woke up. I assumed it was just the ice maker. The noise grew louder and louder until I couldn't take it anymore. I realized Angelica wasn't next to me. My mom must have brought her to her bed. Me, on the other hand, was too heavy to be picked up. The presents weren't under the tree, and the cookies we not bitten. I walked to the kitchen to turn off the ice maker. My dog Jack was barking at the window.
Stupid dog.
You made me look bad!
I realized it wasn't the ice maker making the noise. It was coming from the backyard. I most definitely was not going out there. I went back to the couch and played on my phone for 5 minutes.
Okay.
I heard footsteps and assumed it was my dad coming to put the presents under the tree. It wasn't. It was a thin, bony man with a hook as big as your computer.
What does that mean?
He was pale and had dark blue eyes as blue as the ocean at dusk. His hair was dark brown and he had a few gray strands. He was dressed in a Santa suit 5 sizes too big. The ground shook as he walked and the dog barked. He bent down and shut his mouth with his hook. I yanked the blanket over my head. My hands were too shaky to call 911. I held my breath for 15 seconds. I let out a large gasp for breath. I think he heard me because I felt him lay the hook on the blanket. He yanked the blanket off of me and laid his big blue eyes on me. He stared at me for a few seconds, then took a hold of my shirt and lifted me up. He stated, "Your presents aren't going to be here, and neither are you." I felt a tear roll down my face. He cut my arm and blood dripped on the white blanket. I cried softly and I opened my mouth to scream. His only hand without a weapon shut my mouth so hardly, I thought my teeth would fall out. A loud muffle came out from my room. I guess my sister heard it because she came down the staircase and was in shock. She screamed and it caught his attention. He dropped me in the puddle of my own blood. He walked over to Angelica swiftly. I cried to her to run and get Mom, but it was too late. He took a hold of her. I got up and called the police as fast as I could. I explained the situation and they were on their way. Angelica screamed and my mom ran down the stairs.
So you only heard the commotion now?
My dad after her with a shotgun from his safe. He shot the man and the man fell across the room. The blood splattered everywhere. On the walls, on the window.
It felt like a ride from Seaside Heights! What? Authors take note. That is how you ruin all tension in a story with one fell swoop. That was impressive.
The police finally arrived and he was sent to the hospital. They examined the house and told us the man was Santa Claus, a serial killer. He usually comes on Christmas Eve in all the houses with his hook. They finally found him. I was sent to the other hospital to get my arm stitched. This story may make you think differently of Santa. So, lock your doors and close your windows on Christmas Eve, because he was healed and was on his way to court and escaped. No one knows who he could get. He might get you.
Well, then, that's not Santa Claus, that's Santa Claus, because Santa Claus is nice. Santa Claus is a deranged serial killer. Important distinction to make there. You'd be silly to blame the real Santa for that. That sure was an intense story about siblinghood and bravery, and I was definitely invested from beginning to end. Santa Claus was a formidable foe and not to be trifled with. Really though, I think the story fell quite short of what could have been done, and while it too wasn't the worst thing ever, it needed some proofreading to clean up some of the grammar and make it flow a bit better, and cut out some of the fat too, because it went on for way too long. I assume the author writing this was fairly inexperienced at the time, but I do not doubt that they have improved plenty since then. So author, if you're watching this, keep at it, yeah? I believe in ya. This one was just, not very enjoyable. Number 8. He knows if you been bad. But apparently he doesn't know proper grammar. Did you hear what happened to Sue from accounting? What I hear is that she went insane. This happened about a week ago. Apparently what happened was, her husband was away on a business trip. He decided to cut it short and come home on Christmas Eve to surprise her. Aw, how sweet. When he did, he found her on the kitchen floor with scratches all over her body, clutching a knife. All he could get out of her was, Santa. Over and over the name, Santa. The next day, Sue's husband was arrested for attempted murder. Apparently what had happened was, he had hired this Santa impersonator to go and scare her a little, and then off her. All of this so he could carry on with the affair he was having. Well, that just put a twist on things. What an elaborate plan. Did he have to resort to murder to cover up his infidelity? How serious was this? He would have gotten away with it, if it weren't for those meddling kids. No, it doesn't say that, but it should. He would have gotten away with it, except that on Christmas Day, he makes this phone call to 911, telling the operator that Santa was trying to kill him. Crazy, huh? But the fact is, this prompted a full confession out of him. They say he now sits in his cell hysterical, claiming that Santa is coming to kill him.
Hey fella, what are you in jail for? Conspiring to kill my wife with a Santa impersonator? Yeah, I didn't really think that one through.
Well, is Santa coming to kill him? I have no real clue what this story was attempting to convey. Did the husband hire a killer Santa or did he not? Was the supposed plan just speculation and rumor? Do you care? Because I don't. Not really. Let's move on. Number 7. Merry Christmas. You hear voices on the ceiling. Laughter, screams, swears. You don't know what it is. It echoes in your mind, doesn't allow you to sleep. It makes you wonder, is there a God? How could anyone ever make such noises? And that's the first question I would ask myself if I heard voices in the walls. This story is dealing with some real philosophical territory already. You're afraid, you freeze up. You hide beneath your blanket, shacking. And then, the monster gets nearer. Thumb, thumb, thumb. A very loud thumb passes with each passing step, as if the entire armies of hell have gathered in every step. I think at that point a mere thumb isn't gonna cut it. That sounds like it would be much louder. And then, you feel the touch of the red monster. He gently touches your head, as if to taste you with his arms, as if to feel the feeling of your still living flesh. And while he does that, you can't do anything but pray, "Please don't eat me." And then, to your horror, the monster slowly gets nearer and whispers, "Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas!" Ah, terrifying! And then very quickly leaves something for you to remember him by, and leaves. You tell it to your parents. That it will never happen again. No, it doesn't say that, sorry. You tell it to your parents, and they just smile at you gently and laugh. But you have proof for them. The monster left something, a gift wrapped in purple and white. You'll wrap it off as proof of the happening, and then you see not what you have expected. Not a skull, not a dead weasel, but a gun with a cap in it. You wonder to yourself, is this some kind of warning? Some kind of sign? Intuitively, you keep the gun beside you each day. You do not dare to use it though. No, not until he comes back. I think by that point you have a very compelling case to show to your parents. Some weird creature or person thing snuck into your room and left you a gun. I think you and your family have ample reason to be worried. However, I guess that wasn't important for this story because it ends ambiguously just like that, because I guess it's up to the reader to decide what happens next. What a shame, I was getting so invested. Number 6. Skylanders' Bloody Adventure. Boy, that sure sounds Christmassy. In the story you're about to read may be weird and disturbing, but keep reading. Is that a threat? I had recently bought Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, and I got it for Christmas 2 weeks after my cousin had passed. I was devastated, but happy about the game. I opened the package and unwrapped all the figures and game. That's an emotional start to our tale. But when I opened its content, the Spyro it comes with was all screwed up. Its eyes were missing, one wing missing too. And this is weird because it came from Walmart, and then I went past the figure to the next one. It was Trigger Happy, my favorite out of all, but instead of 2 golden guns, he had 2 heads in his hands. And it came from Walmart. Why did you mention Walmart twice? Did you accidentally copy and paste that detail twice? Also, what do you mean by heads? That's a very broad term. I put the game in the system and then my Wii glitched up. Its menu was all bloody and cracked with scary music playing too. Thought it was a prank by my parents. Clicked start on the title. Yes, your parents with their expert hacking skills had time to fix all of this before Christmas. It turned on and the normal title screen played, but for a second the screen went bad. It had a blood splat on it. Ooh, that sounds familiar to another story I've read. After that, I pressed Skyland Adventure. It started up, but on the Skyland home with Eon, and Eon was stabbing Spyro with a spike from Gil, Grunt's gun, and the portal went red like blood. Crimson. And it said place a Skylander on the portal with a skull in the background, so I put Trigger Happy on, and its heads were my friend's head, Jason, and my cousin head. I was scared and turned it off. No comment. So I took a nap, took sleep it off, but I had a dream of my cousin, and she started to tell me not to play the game ever again, but I didn't want to listen. So I played it again and started my game into the first level. I put Spyro on, and he said, as in intro, "You will die." But I didn't listen again and saw Spyro couldn't attack or fly. You're very selective in your hearing. First your late cousin tells you not to play the game, and then Spyro tells you that you will die, but you can't be bothered. So I played for a while, and a high-pitched scream came from my TV. And then it fell silent for about 2 minutes, and Spyro looked at the camera like he was looking at the player. So I quickly took off Spyro and switched it out to Chop Chop, another character, and he went in, but Spyro was there, but he was eating a body, and I saw that it was Jason's body. Then my iPhone 5 went off. Weird flex, but okay. It was Jason's mom. She was crying her eyes out and screaming with sirens in the back. I asked her if anybody was okay. just anybody. And a evil demonic voice said, "You did this to her." And the phone hung up, so I dialed 911 to tell them about the problem. They showed up at the house, and nothing was wrong, but when they went in, all you heard was gunshots. How very dramatic. I fell to the floor crying on the news behind me. The court said a boy's body was found in the river off the town with teeth marks inside his body and his head torn off. How convenient that the TV was turned on and on that one specific channel just then. I lost my movement of anything, then a scream came from my TV. It said, "You will die." Then a black mass picked me up from the floor and I couldn't breathe. I tried to scream but couldn't get it out, and then I fell to the floor again, and my Wii turned on and Spyro's face appeared again. He shot fire into the TV and my Christmas tree lights up on fire and started to burn the house, so I grabbed the fire extinguisher. Sorry for caps. Thanks for the apology? Also, there's the connection to Christmas again. Good, that means I can pass this one off as a Christmas story. I put out the fire, and then the portal stopped working, and the game flew out of the system and broke against the wall, and I never played the game after that had happened. R.I.P. Jason and Alicia, real cousin and friend. Credit to my cousin Alicia, friend Jason. That's just slightly redundant. That's a powerful message to end your tale on. Now, can anyone run that by me one more time? I already forgot what happened. Was Spyro supposed to be scary? Number 5. Strangulation Doll. What a title. 3-year-old Emily loved to play, but she always kept a certain doll out of her eyesight as it creeped her out. Emily's brother, dad, and even her mother didn't like it either. She got it at Christmas 2012. The doll had bright red eyes, eyeliner, makeup, but the thing everyone was freaked end off was the hands. Covered in blood as if it had stapled its hands together. What an appropriate doll to give to your 3-year-old? Seriously, why not get rid of it or at the very least put it away? P.S. The story is based on a true story. One night when everyone was in bed, Emily was looking at the doll. She put it back on the shelf because of its smile that looked like Jeff the Killer's mouth. Yeah, what a specific way of describing it. Based on a true story. A couple hours later, she was flat out on her bed. The doll's head turned around looking away from the wall, but now looking at Emily. The doll had a rope in its hands with dry blood scraped up and down on it. The doll jumped down and tied the rope round Emily's neck and tied the rope. The doll then jumped back onto the shelf looking innocent. Emily was dead. No. The next morning, Emily's dad went to check on Emily to see if she was okay. It was a weekend, so they were allowed to sleep in. Thank you for filling in that plot hole, that was very necessary. Dad saw the rope round Emily's neck. Dad's suspect was the doll. What a chilled out reaction to finding your 3-year-old daughter strangled to death. He threw the doll in the bin, but it climbed out with a machete. Where did it get that? Did it just lie around the bin, or did it shove it up its own ass or something? And sliced his neck open. How? How strong is this little doll, and how was it able to climb up all the way to his neck that easily? You would have thought a right hook would have fucking demolished that doll. Then Mum came out to bring out the rubbish. The doll then took her pants off disturbingly and suffocated Mom. I'm sorry, excuse... Mom, when's tea ready? John, Emily's brother, shouted. John paused and saw the doll standing over everybody's dead corpses. John silently ran to the garage. He drove to London, far away from the doll. The doll is going to find the next traitor. Boy, that story was British.
What?
Are you sure this doll wasn't named Robert or something? What a scary story. It definitely had something to do with Christmas, right? I counted one whole mention of it. Just let this one pass, okay? There aren't that many funny Christmas-themed creepypastas out there. Number 4. Deck the Halls. This is the last night. The last night Geoff Parsons and his sister Michaela live. Hey, spoilers! It's Christmas Eve and Geoff's parents left around 7:30 p.m. to attend a Christmas party. The time is 11:46 p.m. and Geoff's sister sent him to bed around 8 p.m. Though Geoff couldn't sleep, he felt an unpleasant presence. Meanwhile, in the living room of the Parson residence, Michaela is on the phone with her boyfriend Dave. Things are getting heated. Oh dear. And she soon hangs up the phone and goes up the large staircase and into a room. She goes into a large wardrobe and pulls out a fur coat. After putting her coat on, she heads down the stairs and stops in the laundry room where she was in for an unpleasant surprise. Michaela screamed, but a hand clamped over her mouth to silence her. A man, dressed in a Santa costume, simply said, "Ho, ho, ho." That went from 0 to 100 in the span of a few seconds. How exceedingly unpleasant. Michaela?
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Spoke Geoff, stepping one foot on a step, then put the other foot beside it to get down the stairs. Yes, that is how you traverse stairs. The lights were off, and only a candle was lit in the center of the living room. Kitchen. That's all the note that lay next to the candle said. Geoff slowly approached the kitchen, though stooped when he heard a loud crash. Michaela? Is that you? Silence. Michaela, stop! You're scaring me! Geoff flicked the light switch and walked in. Merry Christmas! The time is now 3:27 a.m. Why are the exact times so important in this story? The exact minutes doesn't matter! Geoff's parents have just arrived. They switched the lights on and what they witnessed was terrifying. Written in blood on the wall in front of them was the following. Deck the halls with children bodies. You're so lucky you weren't home. Along D was hanging on wire were the body parts of their children. They say you can still hear him during the night of Christmas Eve. Ho, ho, ho. How lucky that he was able to find this one particular house where the parents were out for the night. Maybe he planned it out beforehand. The diabolical bastard. He knew beforehand, didn't he? I wonder what the point of him wearing the Santa costume was, though. It's not like it's gonna matter once his victims are dead. In fact, nothing in this story mattered. Number 3. The Naughty List. We're in for quality here. The naughty list. What? You got it right in the story but not in the title? Every year there's a day that comes around called Christmas. Ooh, tell me more about this mysterious holiday. A jolly time for the children. At least for the good ones. Then there's the not so jolly time for the not so jolly children. There's the naughty list, a list that decides which children are bad. And for the children that are bad, there are consequences. That's where the naughty list comes in handy. The good ones are rewarded with gifts, toys, and such, and the bad children get more than coal in their stocking.
You see Santa's jolly and holly smiling with his big red rosy cheeks, but when he's facing a naughty child...
Oh, no, it's wrong again.
That face turns into a distinguished frown, and then his face becomes the face of an unforgiving saint. As the story goes, for the mild delay in naughty children, he would put hot coal in their stocking, keeping its heat without burning the stocking until it is touched by the naughty child's hand.
Jeez, did you not have access to spell check? For the extremely naughty children, now it's right!
There's the unspeakable, as Santa sends his little elves to grab the child and then escort the child to the room of naughty punishment, where you can see the remains of the children who were previous victims of the naughty list hammered off Santa.
Well, that took a dark turn. I'm worried.
And as the elves left the room after the child is taken to a dark room, the lights all turn on and there's a tower of Christmas decorations and trains thriving by. And there's a little Santa on the top spinning in circles with a rather large head.
Well, that's not so bad.
Then the jolly tunes begin to slowly become distorted, and then the trains start to smoke, and then the Santa on the top of the tower's face starting to frown, then slowly melt as he violently started to spin, faster and faster, and then everything just stops like that it's quiet. Then the lights dim once more and Santa himself come out, and asks the boy if he would like a cookie, and the boy of course said yes. Then a Santa slowly walked towards him with his hands behind his back. He said as he pointed, "It's in that room I just walked out of."
Ooh, bad touch, bad touch!
And so the boy runs into the room only to find no cookie, but a room like a gigantic oven, and then the boy turns around with a frightened face, and Santa begins to laugh, and slowly the doors shut, soon trapping the boy inside.
Is Santa suddenly the witch from Hansel and Gretel? And then little robotic elves come out.
And they have evil faces and start to sing, "We wish you a merry death," instead of "We wish you a merry Christmas."
Thank you for clarifying. I would have never figured out what they were spoofing otherwise.
And then the boy starts to sweat, with it beginning to get hotter and hotter. He begins to scream. Soon, his skin starts to burn, and then he falls to the ground, and soon after the elves begin to surround him, singing the same thing. "We wish you a merry death, we wish you a merry death." And in the boy's last breath, he says, "I'm sorry for being naughty, Santa." And then his body becomes lifeless, and Santa resumes back to a Merry Christmas. And then the boy woke up to find that he was just dreaming, and looking over to his bedroom wall, he sees it's only January. And after that dream, he was never naughty again.
Aw, what a wholesome ending at least. No one was hurt, and the naughty boy learned to behave after all. What a foolproof way of reforming these out-of-control kids. I wish we could do this more often. That way the world would be much better off. Because right now, all we've got is Dr. Phil. Number 2. GTA the Child Killer. Bear with me on this one, guys. Hi, my name is Sam. Hello, Sam. When it was Christmas 2011, I got a 2100 MS point code. When I entered the code, my TV started gently flickering. So I gently tapped on my TV in hopes it would stop, but it didn't. Which was strange because it was a really good TV and Xbox 360. But luckily it was only slight and didn't make the system and games unplayable. After playing some games, I browsed the Xbox Live Marketplace. I came across Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Close enough. It said it was a free download for the full game, which I thought it must have been a Christmas deal or something. There, see, this is a Christmas story. Right? So I downloaded it. The game started up, it seemed normal, until the first mission. It started off with BS, Big Smoke. Why would you shorten his name if you were just gonna spell it out immediately after? Where he said in a demonic voice, "Harvest 20 children eyes," in a deafening screech. Man, Big Smoke really let himself go. So now I was shocked and scared. But since there was no children in the game, I roamed about to see if there actually were any. There was. The only weapon I had was a butcher knife. So I went to this play area thing and I pressed B on my controller and Carl jumped on the child and cut open his stomach. Okay, I like how chill you suddenly are with murdering all these kids. They didn't need to ask twice. He slowly pulled out the insides and before the child died, he ripped out the eyes with his own hands and gave out a laugh. While realistic blood poured everywhere, I was crying. Why are you crying? You were the one who made Carl do that. Also, pro tip, don't just add in gross, like, child killing in your story just to make it shocking. That's not how you make good horror, it's just distasteful. I went to turn the console off and Carl's face splatted on the screen with photorealistic eyes with were pouring with blood, and the sides of his mouth had blood pouring out of them, and gave out deafening screams known to mankind. Carl Johnson, the scariest thing in existence. This happened to me, and I am afraid of all games and most TV shows. This one weird game did that? That's a very hardcore reaction to one game. You know video game worlds aren't real, right? You know fiction from reality, don't you? Now I'm not so sure. Number 1. The truth behind Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I am ready for some truth bombs. Most people think that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a jolly Christmas figure that helped Santa Claus pull his magical mostly, but no, you're wrong. I am? That's a bold statement to make. I hope you can back this up with proof. Where is your proof? You see, many years ago there was a Russian hunter named Rudolph von Reindeer who was addicted to cocaine. Okay, you lost me already. Rudolph snorted coke all the time and became mentally insane. After killing numerous people, we just went from A to B to Z, and eluding the police for months, time finally caught up to old Rudolph and he was arrested and sentenced to life in a mental institution. There, after years of being made fun of for his awkward name and unbearable cocaine addiction, he began to think he was a reindeer with a red nose. The reason he wasn't allowed to join in other reindeer games is because the institution feared he would kill again. The reason behind the red nose was due to all the cocaine he had snorted causing his nose to swell and bleed. So, the next time you think or that jolly reindeer that saved the day, think of what monster you're really worshipping. Man, what a wake-up call for us all. Never meet your idols, guys. Think about who you're worshipping. You never know who they might be behind the scenes. A reindeer might just be a Russian hunter who is addicted to cocaine or something. Life sure is unpredictable. Well, there you finally have it. 10 Christmas-ish themed creepypastas done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope these stories got you in a festive mood. Let's exit the vault. Thank you for making it until the end. If you liked this video, why not give it a like, a comment, and let me know which story was your favorite and why. If you want to see more videos like this one, why not even subscribe? Alternatively, you can check out my brand new merch store, Hoodlum Hijinks, to find some cool channel merch. If you want updates or random thoughts from me, you can also check out my Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. And if you want to support my channel directly, you can always chime in on my Patreon page. That'd be pretty neat. With that said, I believe that should be all for this video. We made it to the end. Merry Christmas, everyone. I wish each and every one of you a spectacular time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay awesome. Goodbye.